Let's talk to David. David.
Hi, hello.
Ooh.
Can you hear me?
I think it might be on our end, Eric, that they have an issue.
David, are you there?
Okay, well, I'm calling all the way from... Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Super
Can you hear me?
poor. Not really. I'm gonna put you back in the queue and try one other person, and if that's the case, then we're gonna have some issues. David,
Can we try one more time?
Right. Right. I put him back in the queue just in time for that. Hold on a second. Hold on, David.
Okay. Yeah, is it working now?
There we go.
Yes, it is.
We're good.
Is it better? Oh, God bless. God bless. Okay. I'm happy to speak to both of you. I'm a fan of the show. I had a concept that I was going through in my head, which is the fact that I'm not only an atheist, as in I don't believe the God claims. I find the Abrahamic God claim to be so preposterous that it basically means kind of that, you know, all theists, basically, they go, well, there's got to be something. There's got to be something there. And what they're basically trying to say is loop that into the fact that their God is the right one. But that God specifically, which is the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good God that wants you to read from a book, and that's how you're going to go to heaven, is, in my opinion, basically demonstrably false.
Sure, if that's your definition. My question to you is,
I think that's all the creationist definition. Like all religious people from the Abrahamic religion will all give them the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good that wants you to read from a book.
No, that is just not true.
Really? What else do they give them?
Sure, the entire line of apologetics that have replaced the omnis with maximal, and there are plenty of personal definitions for God that if we got into the business of defining what their God is to them, we're just setting up some to knock over. You know, for those people who do believe it, fantastic. But I have to ask you, what's the benefit of deciding for them that that's what they believe? I understand where you're going with it, and when we're talking about the Tri-Omni God, I agree with you. That's just not what all of them believe.
I don't know of any, to be honest with you, that don't believe it, and that's why I sort of am calling about this, and then I have like two other little anecdotes. But basically, that type of God, the only way that they can justify him is by saying, well, we don't understand God, which is, you know, really a serious cop-out at the end of it all. And it's like you say you don't understand him, yet you're telling me so many other things that he does and that you absolutely know.
I think I can absolutely empathize with this person that you're thinking of, or not empathize with them, but empathize with the conversation that you're having. That said, make sure that we're not getting into the business of telling people what they believe. I understand that your experience has led you to think that all Christians, in this case, believe in the Tri-Omni God.
Jews, Muslims, everybody. I think like I don't know of any person that would worship a God that is not all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good, because that's the one they want to believe in, because he's the one who actually can help them.
We're going to push back on that hard.
What's the point of worshiping?
Yeah, David, I got to push back hard on that, dude. I have to push back hard on that one. How many polytheists are there? I mean, there are tons of people who believe in and worship gods that are not Tri-Omni.
But some of them aren't even benevolent, right?
I agree that these are distinct. I'm talking about the Abrahamic religions. I'm not talking about, you know, all religions fall into this category. I'm saying anybody that comes with the Abrahamic religion, it's not only the fact that I'm an atheist because they haven't proven that, you know, that there is something to their claim. It's more than that. It's the fact that they're everything in their God, in the nature, and you go into the book and it just gets worse and worse. It doesn't make sense.
So I think it's best so if we're going to kind of attack the character of God, I guess the ontology of the God that Christians believe in, I think it is very important to understand which iteration of those attributes that they're referring to. And then I believe it's Matt Slick who uses the maximally good characterization. And I know that many other Christians actually do. But if we're talking about your average everyday Christian that's not an apologist, sure, they believe in the omnis. But how do they conceptualize that? It's easy. They contrive it. It's because I can't tell you what omnibenevolent looks like. I can't. I don't think anybody can actually do that, but they have some conception of it. But it's my job, if I'm going to disagree with them, to say, okay, you help me uncover the attributes of this deity. How can I observe, or how can I intuit what that attribute is to get to understand what you're getting at, right? I can say all day that I don't understand, but it's going to take a little bit of legwork for me if I actually want to try and debunk it or to try and understand it at a very basis.
Yeah, they can spin it in 1,000,001 different ways. I do agree with you on that. You know, and the truth is they can't prove, but I feel like it's much more on the Abrahamic religions that basically it is basically close to, in my opinion, basically demonstrably false. Just
so
if you go by the 4 rules that I said, that would be a very stupid God to do what he's done.
David,
yeah.
David. So I understand that the argument against the Tri-Omni God being absolutely impossible logically. We agree. It's not a silver bullet. I think you agree with that. Whether or not you think a thing is silly.
It's not a silver bullet, but
and also whether or not you think a thing is silly doesn't really impact the believer. We if you want to have that conversation with them, do. But listen to them and let them define those things, and then use those if you want to be in a conversation where you're not talking past each other.
Yeah, I agree. But you can basically, I think there is what to pull apart. Anyway, I just want to add like 2 more small points and I'll let you go. Just like 2 little sentences about stuff. So I wanted to talk about the argument from design. 2 little points that I thought were interesting that struck me. Number one,
David.
Yeah.
This isn't the format for that. I'm sorry, man. It's just entirely talk format. Call in with stuff that we can engage with.
I just want to get 2 sentences. Okay.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Okay. Well, I think you can engage with it, but okay. I thank you guys. All the best.
All right. Can we get
I just. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's